Welcome back to another video. My name is Kara Michelle and I am here to help you live your truth. So on today's video, I want to talk a little bit about rock bottom. This is something that has been coming up a lot with new clients as well as people reaching out in my emails, asking me about their own struggles, saying that they're at their rock bottom, they're looking for help, they're looking for perspective shifts, for ways to get through. So on this video, I'm going to dive into that. So I want to preface this by saying that we all have struggles and we all have times in our lives where it really is a rock bottom, and maybe you feel like thing after thing keeps hitting you and it's just bringing you down, and it's really, really hard to break out of that place. I know 100% what that's like. And just for a very quick backstory for those who don't know, I'm going to share my own rock bottom so that you know what I'm talking about. You know I can relate. So when I was 18 in 2011, my brother passed away. He had an allergic reaction to a prescription drug, and in the flash of an instant, he was gone. So that really changed everything in my life, and my perspective, everything changed in an instant. He was gone. I could never talk to him. He was my best friend, my idol, and really influenced everything in my life. So it was a major, major setback. And in navigating that grief and loss, a few years later, then I was sexually assaulted, and that was like another pile, or like another punch in the gut, because for any women who are watching this who have had that experience, even though you know it's not your fault, there's still a lot of shame and guilt and the stigma around it. You doubt yourself, you doubt that anyone will believe you if you talk about it, and so instead of sharing it, you keep it to yourself. And I'm gonna do a video totally dedicated to this another time. Actually, a video dedicated to each of these three things another time. But for now, we'll leave it there. And then a couple years after that, I was driving my car across Canada and I hit black ice on the highway. I lost control and I Dukes of Hazzarded it. I went off and flipped, and then I rolled 4 times in the ditch. And fortunately I was okay, but I had a lot of trauma and anxiety after that. So those were my 3 things, the trifecta really, that just kept punching me and hitting me when I was down. And it was like, I just started to get back up and moving, and then it was like, bam, take that. And then I go, oh, okay. And I try to get back up, and then the universe was like, here's another thing, we're gonna send it to you too. So, obviously I wasn't laughing about it in the time, but now I can kind of shift my perspective a little bit. And I really have come to believe that every single struggle, every single hardship we face is here to teach us. And that is the purpose of life, in my opinion, is to navigate these lessons, to find your way through so that you can still make a difference. You can still live out your purpose and your passions, and you can find happiness and peace no matter what kind of things you've been through and what kind of struggles you've had. So that perspective shift alone is what has allowed me to get to where I am today, to push forward through the struggle and the pain. And so I want you to, if you're in the midst of it right now, I know it can be very dark and you might not be willing or ready to hear that, but there is a lesson to this. Whatever you're going through, there is a lesson, I promise you. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to allow you to see the world differently. It's going to teach you what you don't want or what you're not going to stand for or settle for. It's going to bring about new standards, new beliefs around yourself. So it really is a lesson to teach you. And if you can look at it that way and try to shift and find the lesson and find some kind of positivity in it, I promise you that will make so much difference as you continue to move forward. So if you're in a rock bottom, look for the silver lining, look for the lesson, and try to focus in on that a little bit. Try to let that be your pull. And then another thing that I want to share with you is, like, use your rock bottom as a chance to restart. we really have a lot of negativity and a lot of limiting beliefs around being at the bottom, around being in such a negative place or such a big struggle. I mean, just an example of that is even financial struggle. We have such a really big stigma around being in debt and being like in a financial struggle or crisis. And that whole belief and limiting belief and fear around it is also what keeps us there even longer, versus looking at it as a chance to grow, a chance to move up. So don't let the rock bottom and the hardships weigh you down. I'm trying to think of a metaphor because I usually like to think in metaphors. Don't let it cloud your judgment and just like be this black cloud, this heavy weight that's going to be a burden and weigh you down for the rest of your life. Blow that cloud away. Let it go. Try to look from clear, new eyes as you're listening to this video and watching this, and look for the good thing and look for the way that it can be a chance to start fresh, a chance to start over, to start new, and to move forward. Because if you choose to look at it as the end of your life and like the rock bottom and you're never going to get out of it, if you have that kind of belief around it, it's going to keep you limited and it's going to keep you stuck there way longer than you'd like to be. But if you choose to look at it as, this is super, super shitty and I hate where I am right now and I don't want to be here any longer, so how can this be like day one of the rest of my life? How can I move forward? What can I do today that's going to make a benefit, like that's going to help me moving out of this place? Don't stay stuck there anymore. Don't identify with it. Don't let it be the rest of your life. And that's a thing that we really do. We create these labels. Just to add to the financial example, there's this label around like I'm bad with money, or I'm not responsible, or how did I get into this situation, and like I'm never going to get out of it. There's all these beliefs and labels created that keep us in that identity, and therefore we stay in that situation. But if you can break out of that and see with new eyes and make today the start, make today the first day of the rest of your life, where all of your dreams are possible, where there's nothing holding you back or limiting you, where you can achieve, you can be, do, have anything, let today be the marker. Mark it on your calendar, write it on your phone, set it as your backdrop. Like, today is a new day. That should be your mantra. What can I do today that's going to help me get to where I want to be? Really embodying and living from that future version of you is going to make all the difference. And just even as another example, because I had to do this myself time and time again, but after grief, after losing my brother, I identified with it so heavily. My mind told me that anytime I saw someone, all they would see was, oh, there's Kara, poor girl, her brother just died. Oh, there's Kara, she must be really struggling. Like, my mind assumed that everyone just saw me as the girl whose brother died, when in reality, not very many people saw me that way, which is also sad, but that's another story. But they weren't identifying me that way. They weren't thinking of me that way. I had created that own label. I was carrying the grief as the only part of who I am. That was the only facet of my being, was like this heavy cloud of grief. And then after sexual assault, that became my identity. It was like, oh, now I'm part of that club too, and that's who I am, and that's just another heavy weight that I have to carry every day. So can you see how identifying with it is keeping you stuck there? It's not allowing you to move forward, to expand, to grow, and step into who you're truly meant to be. So one of the big identity shifts and label shifts around that is starting to disassociate from that version of yourself. And it can be weird at first, and you might feel like strange. You might feel like you're acting and playing a part of a play or a role in a play, but that is part of becoming the next level of yourself. So there is still pain, there is still sadness when I think about my brother, or I think about some of the things I've gone through. There are still some moments of anxiety when I'm driving on a highway, especially in the winter, because that is still a heavy part. But I don't associate it and I don't hold on to the label. And I've learned that it really has as much power as I give it. So if I choose to give it all the power, and if I walked around and was like, oh, woe is me, listen to all these things that have happened, I'm giving it more power, I'm fueling it, I'm enforcing those thoughts and those beliefs and those habits. But if I choose to do the opposite and I go, yeah, you know what? Those are things that I had to go through, but look at how strong I am now. Look at where I am. Now, like, those things don't limit it. They don't limit me anymore. They're not holding me back. I'm still doing exactly what I feel I'm meant to do. I'm still chasing my happiness. I'm still taking care of myself. I'm not in the dark place I once was. So I've taken it and really created a new identity where those things just empowered me and made me stronger and built me up instead of holding me back and making me into a victim. So check yourself, because a lot of times we don't realize that we're kind of in a victim mentality. And again, for me, I didn't think I was, but I still was wearing the coat or the jacket of the girl who had all these bad things happen, and I still kind of walked around with that every day, feeling like that's all that people would see in me. And when I stopped doing that, when I took that coat off and I started to say, you know what, I'm multifaceted, I am so much more than those three things, and I'm an incredible human being, I bring so much to the world, I have so much to give, I'm smart, I'm this, I'm that, right? When you use those positive affirmations and you start to focus on other parts of who you are as a whole person, you're gonna find a lot more freedom. So do not let your rock bottom define you. Don't let it be the end all be all of who you are. Try to detach, separate, even look back, like look at it as if you're watching a movie and kind of take away some of the emotion and go, okay, but what did this teach me? Or how did that shape me or make me stronger or better? Or what have I learned? What am I doing differently now? And then take that piece and identify with that. Wow, I'm really strong. Or wow, you know what? I'm resilient. I never give up. Or, you know, no matter what comes my way, I keep going. It's not fun, it's not easy, but I'm still here, I'm still trying. That is what you need to identify with. That is what you need to celebrate and hold on to and be proud of. So taking that whole perspective shift and viewing it in a new way is going to allow you to really move forward out of rock bottom. And then you can start to take actions from that new version of yourself. We'll get into that in another video, but aligning with who your future self is, like instead of this victim stuck in struggle mode version of yourself who's in rock bottom right now, and I say this from experience and with love because I was that person too, but instead of being that person, I started to go, okay, what would the real Kara look like? Or like, what would my ideal Kara look like? How would she act? What would she do? What actions would she take? Like, well, she's gonna travel, she's gonna look for answers, she's gonna invest in herself, she's gonna work with coaches and healers, she's gonna live out all these dreams, she's gonna check off her bucket list, she's going to appreciate life even though she's had things happen that could make her not appreciate it. Instead of looking at the world as a deep, dark, hopeless, angry place, she's looking for the beauty, she's chasing after that and finding it. Do you see what I mean? So act as if that future version of yourself is who you are right now. Step into the place of being the ideal person, and it's going to change so many things, open so many doors, and you'll feel your energy and vibration rise to the occasion. So those are just a few tips, different perspective shifts and actions for you to take to start making these changes now, and I really hope that will help you. Tag a friend if you know someone who's going through a hard time. Send them this video, you know, tell them about it, help them out, and be there to support them. And if you're in this place right now, you know that there is support, there's love, you're not alone, and all you need to do is continue to focus on the positive. Try to shift yourself out of where you are right now, see things in a new light, and move forward and act from where you want to be. Thank you. Namaste.